Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a moment to pause and reflect on a common habit that many of us engage in without realizing its profound impact: talking about our goals. We often share our aspirations with friends, family, and sometimes even strangers. Whether it's over coffee with colleagues or during casual conversations at social gatherings, we frequently express what we hope to achieve in the future. But have you ever stopped to consider how this habit might be subtly undermining your journey to success? It feels natural to share our dreams with others. It can provide a sense of validation and support. There's an important distinction between seeking encouragement and merely verbalizing ambitions without taking concrete action. When we focus more on discussing our goals rather than working towards them, we risk creating a false sense of progress. This can lead us into a cycle where talking becomes a substitute for doing. As we continue down this path, the gap between intention and reality grows wider. It's essential to recognize that while sharing goals can be beneficial when done thoughtfully, excessive discussion without corresponding effort can hinder real progress. Silence can be incredibly powerful when it comes to achieving success. In a world where we're constantly encouraged to share our thoughts and feelings, it's easy to overlook the value of keeping quiet about our goals. When we keep our aspirations private and focus on taking small steps towards them each day, something remarkable happens. We start believing in ourselves more. This phenomenon is rooted in psychology. Our brains are wired to respond better to actions than words alone. When we talk about what we want without following through with concrete steps, it can create anxiety rather than motivation. Think of it like this: if every time you wanted to go for a run, but only talked about it instead of lacing up your shoes and heading out the door, would you ever get fit? The same principle applies to any goal, whether personal or professional. By keeping your goals quiet, you avoid creating unrealistic expectations or false satisfaction from merely discussing plans without action behind them. This is crucial because when others know about your goals, they might expect updates or results sooner than they should come naturally. This pressure can lead to stress and disappointment if progress isn't as rapid as anticipated. Silence allows us to maintain control over how much information others have about our journey towards success. When everyone knows what you're working on, there's often an expectation for constant progress reports or advice from well-meaning friends and family members who might not fully understand the intricacies of your objectives. In contrast, keeping things private gives you space to experiment without external judgment or interference until you've made significant strides that are worth sharing publicly. Another benefit of silence is that it helps prevent what psychologists call social validation. Social validation occurs when talking about a goal makes us feel like we've already accomplished something, simply because others acknowledge our intentions, verbally or emotionally support them with encouragement like, "You got this." While such support feels good initially, relying too heavily on external validation rather than internal motivation can weaken resolve over time. When no one knows what you're working towards except yourself and perhaps a trusted mentor, every step forward becomes more meaningful because the drive comes entirely from within, your own desire for achievement, rather than seeking approval from others. Focusing less on verbalizing goals allows us more mental bandwidth for actual work needed for achievement, rather than spending energy explaining plans repeatedly across different social circles, which could otherwise be directed into tangible efforts toward realizing those dreams into reality. Ultimately, maintaining some level of secrecy around personal ambitions fosters resilience by allowing individuals room for trial, paired experimentation away public scrutiny, which inevitably accompanies openly discussed projects, thus enabling smoother navigation through inevitable setbacks encountered along path toward ultimate triumph. Actions over words is a principle that stands at the heart of achieving success. When we prioritize talking about our goals over taking concrete steps towards them, we risk undermining our own potential. This habit can lead to a false sense of progress. where verbalizing aspirations becomes a substitute for actual effort. Our brains are wired to respond more effectively to actions than mere words. When you say out loud what you want to achieve but don't follow through with tangible steps, it can create anxiety rather than motivation. Think of it like this. If every time you wanted to start a new business but only talked about it instead of drafting a business plan or securing funding, would your venture ever take off? The same principle applies across all domains, whether personal or professional. By focusing on action rather than just discussing goals, we build momentum and reinforce self-confidence with each small victory. Every step forward becomes evidence that we're capable and committed, which in turn fuels further progress. Moreover, when actions speak louder than words, external validation becomes less necessary for motivation. You no longer rely on others' encouragement or approval because your own achievements serve as the best motivator. Talking excessively about goals without corresponding action also leads to what's known as social loafing. This phenomenon occurs when individuals exert less effort because they believe others will pick up the slack or share responsibility simply because everyone knows about their plans. Prioritizing action helps maintain accountability internally rather than relying on external pressures or expectations from others who might not fully understand your objectives. Focusing on doing rather than saying allows us more mental bandwidth for actual work needed for achievement rather than spending energy explaining plans repeatedly across different social circles, which could otherwise be directed into tangible efforts toward realizing those dreams into reality. When you focus more on executing tasks related to your goals and less on verbalizing them without substance behind them, you build trust in yourself. Each step forward reinforces confidence. You avoid unrealistic expectations by keeping some things private until they become tangible achievements. You stay motivated longer because progress is visible rather than just theoretical discussions. This approach also fosters resilience by allowing room for trial and error experimentation away from public scrutiny, which inevitably accompanies openly discussed projects, thus enabling smoother navigation through inevitable setbacks encountered along the path toward ultimate triumph. Ultimately, maintaining an emphasis on actions over words ensures that real progress is made towards achieving success while minimizing distractions and maintaining internal drive. Specificity matters when it comes to achieving success, especially in the context of goal setting. When we talk about our goals without defining them clearly, we risk creating ambiguity and confusion. Vague goals are not only difficult to achieve, but also lead to a lack of direction and motivation. Goal-setting theory suggests that specific goals lead to better task performance by creating situations for employee engagement and mobilizing efforts. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to improve my health," a more specific goal would be, "I will start by jogging 3 times a week for 30 minutes each session." This clarity helps eliminate ambiguity and provides a clear roadmap for action. Specificity is crucial because it answers the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why of any expectation related to the goal. When these questions are addressed, individuals can understand exactly what needs to be done and how success can be measured. For example, if your goal is career advancement within your company, who? Identify who will support you in this journey, mentors or colleagues. What? Clearly define what you aim to achieve, promotion within 6 months. When? Set specific timelines for milestones, completing additional training by the end of 6 months. Determine where this advancement will take place, moving into a leadership role within your current department. Why? Understand why this goal is important, increased responsibility or financial benefits. By being specific about these elements, you create an actionable plan that guides your efforts towards achieving tangible results. Specificity helps maintain focus on what truly matters. When goals are vague or abstract, "I want to succeed," they lack clear direction. In contrast, well-defined objectives provide clarity on expected outcomes and necessary actions. This clarity ensures that resources are allocated efficiently towards tasks that directly contribute to achieving those objectives. Specificity fosters accountability both internally with oneself and externally with others involved in supporting those goals. By having clear expectations outlined from the beginning, 1, you avoid misunderstandings about what needs doing. 2, you establish measurable criteria for progress. 3, you maintain commitment as every step forward aligns with predefined targets. This structured approach also enhances motivation because each small victory reinforces confidence in one's ability to achieve more significant milestones down the line. When discussing our goals without specificity, 1, we may inadvertently create unrealistic expectations among others who might not fully grasp our vision. 2, we risk diluting our own focus by spreading attention across too many vague aspirations rather than concentrating on concrete steps needed for real progress. We miss out on opportunities for constructive feedback since unclear objectives make it challenging for others or ourselves to assess whether we're moving closer towards desired outcomes. Incorporating specificity into goal setting aligns perfectly with strategies like SMART goals, specifically designed frameworks that ensure objectives are well defined enough that everyone involved understands exactly what they're working towards. Ultimately, maintaining specificity allows us greater control over how effectively resources are utilized toward realizing tangible achievements, rather than merely talking about ambitions without substance behind them. Focusing on progress rather than just talking about goals is a crucial strategy for achieving success. When we emphasize progress over goal achievement, we create a mindset that values continuous improvement and learning. This approach not only enhances motivation, but also fosters resilience in the face of challenges. Progress is more meaningful than goal achievement because it aligns with our natural human desire to explore and improve. Our brains are wired to respond positively to the process of making progress as it triggers the release of dopamine, a neurotransmitter linked to motivation and pleasure. This means that every small step forward becomes a source of satisfaction, encouraging us to continue striving for more. Focusing on progress allows us room for experimentation and learning from mistakes. Unlike rigid goals that can make us feel like failures if not met exactly as planned, emphasizing progress gives us permission to adapt and adjust along the way. It encourages an environment where mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. When we focus solely on achieving specific goals without considering ongoing improvement, we risk stagnation. Constantly reaching our objectives might give an illusion of perfection but doesn't push us beyond current capabilities. 2, we miss out on opportunities. By being too focused on end results rather than processes, we might overlook innovative solutions or new paths that could lead to greater success. 3, we compare ourselves unfairly. Goal-headed thinking often leads to comparing ourselves with others who may have different strengths or circumstances. 1, focusing on progress puts you into competition with yourself, the most challenging benchmark there is. This self-competition drives continuous improvement because surpassing your past achievements becomes a never-ending challenge. To effectively focus on progress while still setting goals, ensure your objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. SMART. This framework helps turn abstract ideas into actionable targets. 2-7. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge each step forward as significant because these small victories build momentum and maintain motivation. 2-8. Systems over goals. Instead of fixating solely on end results, goals, develop systems, repeated actions or processes that ensure consistent effort towards those outcomes. 4. By prioritizing systems over static goals, 1, you ensure consistent effort even when immediate results aren't visible. 2, you foster habits that support long-term success rather than short-term gains. 3, You create flexibility within your approach so you can adapt based on feedback or changing circumstances. Maintaining daily focus through consistent action helps make steady headway towards larger objectives. Use time management techniques like the Pomodoro technique or scheduling dedicated blocks for goal work each day. Break down large tasks into smaller milestones so each day contributes meaningfully towards overall success. Focusing more intently upon making daily strides toward your aspirations ensures tangible advancements occur regularly while minimizing distractions from merely discussing plans without substance behind them. Building trust in yourself is a foundational element of achieving success, especially when it comes to pursuing your goals without getting bogged down by excessive talk. When you trust yourself, you're more likely to take action and stay committed to your objectives, even when faced with challenges or setbacks. Let's start with the basics. Self-trust isn't something you either have or don't. It's something that can be developed over time through consistent practice and intentional effort. One of the most effective ways to build self-trust is by being kind to yourself, practicing self-compassion instead of self-criticism. This means acknowledging your efforts and progress rather than focusing solely on shortcomings. Another crucial aspect is setting reasonable goals that align with your capabilities and values. By breaking down large objectives into smaller, manageable steps, you create opportunities for regular successes that reinforce confidence in your abilities. Celebrating each milestone along the way helps maintain motivation and demonstrates that you're capable of achieving what you set out to do. Developing self-awareness is also vital for building trust in yourself. This involves paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Journaling can be an excellent tool for tracking progress and understanding how different experiences impact your mindset. Spend time alone regularly. This solitude allows for deeper reflection on who you are, what matters most to you, and how these insights can guide decision-making processes. Being decisive also plays a significant role here. Making choices confidently helps strengthen belief in one's ability to handle outcomes effectively. Sticking firmly to personal values ensures consistency between actions taken today versus those envisioned tomorrow. It's about living authentically so others see integrity reflected back at them from within themselves too. Ultimately, maintaining strong boundaries while keeping promises made both internally to oneself as well externally builds credibility, not just outwardly but inwardly too, fostering resilience. Needed during tough times ahead, where staying true becomes harder yet more necessary than ever before. By focusing on these practices, you enhance self-awareness. Understanding yourself better allows alignment between intentions and actions. You develop resilience. Learning from mistakes rather than dwelling on them strengthens resolve. You foster authenticity. Living according to core values reinforces integrity both personally and professionally. This journey towards trusting oneself isn't about grand gestures, but small moments where we choose faith over doubt every day. Whether deciding what task comes next or simply choosing which path feels right despite uncertainty, surrounding us all along our paths forward into unknown territories, waiting patiently ahead, ready to embrace whatever life throws our way next. Let's dive into the world of unrealistic expectations and how they can secretly sabotage our success. When we talk about our goals without setting realistic targets, we often create a cycle of disappointment and frustration. This happens because unrealistic expectations set unattainable standards, add to stress, demand instant success, or expect constant validation. You might say something like, "I'm going to start my own business next year." Sounds ambitious, right? But what if that goal is rooted in external pressures rather than your genuine desires or capabilities? This is where trouble begins. Unrealistic goals are those that don't align with our current situation or values. One, they often stem from social pressures or comparisons rather than what truly matters to us. For instance, Goals that are overly ambitious can feel overwhelming and lead to burnout. They're too fast, expecting rapid progress without considering the time required for real growth. They are disconnected, pursuing objectives that don't resonate with personal values or circumstances. When we set such goals, we feel stuck, constantly striving but never feeling satisfied because these objectives are inherently unachievable. 2, we question our worth. Failure to meet these lofty standards can erode self-confidence and make us doubt our abilities. 3, we experience stress plus burnout. Unrealistic expectations lead to heightened stress levels due to sustained pressure over time. Moreover, talking about these goals excessively without making tangible progress creates an illusion of progress while actually hindering real advancement. To avoid this trap, 1, reflect on your motivations. Ask yourself why you want to achieve this goal. Is it genuinely important to you? 2, set realistic timelines internally. Understand significant achievements take time. Avoid letting external pressures dictate timelines unless necessary. 3, focus on progress rather than perfection. Celebrate small victories along the way rather than fixating solely on end results. This helps maintain motivation despite inevitable setbacks. By focusing more intently upon making steady strides toward objectives while keeping some elements private until substantial advancements occurs, ensures smoother navigation through inevitable obstacles encountered during any journey toward ultimate triumph. Ultimately, maintaining realistic expectations involves being honest with yourself about what's achievable within given constraints, while minimizing external influences that could skew perceptions of how fast success should arrive. Incorporating practices like setting smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant time goals helps turn abstract ideas into actionable targets. It's essential not just for achieving personal milestones, but also for fostering an environment where growth is encouraged through incremental successes rather than dramatic leaps towards seemingly impossible outcomes. By recognizing when your goals might be unrealistic, whether due to their size, speed of achievement expected from them, or lack alignment with core values, you empower yourself not only avoid unnecessary stress, but also cultivate resilience needed during tough times ahead, where staying true becomes harder yet more necessary than ever before. In conclusion, while discussing goals can be beneficial, excessive talk without action can subtly undermine success. It fosters a false sense of accomplishment and diverts focus from the tangible efforts needed to turn aspirations into reality. Let's make a pact today. Instead of merely verbalizing our ambitions, let's channel our energy into taking concrete steps toward realizing them. Allow our progress to speak for itself and let our achievements serve as the testament to our unwavering dedication. By shifting from words to actions, we transform potential into tangible results, ensuring that it is not just what we say, but what we do that truly matters. This approach will empower us to turn dreams into realities and celebrate genuine accomplishments rather than fleeting conversations about them. Thank you.